Hello and welcome back to our Twisted Kitchen. In this little mini series we're going to be highlighting 3 different vegan / plant-based stories. Since no 2 stories are the same, I hope you will find some resonance in either one or all of these stories. And if you like what you see in these videos, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it helps to reach new people that may be looking for this information. Today I am joined by Kalene, the owner and founder of Tastefull Vegan Frozen Desserts, located here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Welcome to our Twisted Kitchen.
It's so good to be here.
So excited that we're finally doing this.
I know.
We had some plans to do this a while ago, but because of everything, we had to put it off. But I'm so happy that you're
We're here, yes.
And just to kind of get started, if you can give me and the viewers just a kind of background on how you came into veganism, how you started, and why you continue to do it.
Yes, I about 2 years ago just wanted to put together a cookbook. Our church had done a fast, and during the fast we were doing everything plant-based. Most people do a fast called like the Daniel fast, and it is basically a vegan diet, but whenever we would have it, people would always call and text me like, let's ask the vegetarian, like, what are we supposed to eat? Like, can we eat this? Can we eat that? And so I made a cookbook, and it was called the Daniel Feast, because I always got, I got a lot of kind of like people were thinking like, if I eat vegan, then I won't really be able to eat and like enjoy food, like I'll starve.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big myth of veganism.
It is. My daughter today, knows my son, he gave me a blade of grass. I'm like, no, I'm not eating the grass like any more than that. I'm like, Mom, you can eat more than that.
Oh my God. I love it.
So I started with the cookbook, and then after that I started a Facebook group called Vegan on the Weekend, and I would just put up vegan recipes every weekend. And I called it Vegan on the Weekend because I didn't want it to be, I didn't want people to feel like, well, if I'm not vegan, I can't look at the page, I didn't want people to feel as if they had to be totally committed to that. I just wanted people to have an option to, like, if they were going to do meatless Mondays, or, if they wanted to know how to eat and replace the meat, I wanted them to have a place to go. And
absolutely.
That's how it started for me, and in that transition period for me, I was kind of, trying to determine what I wanted. I had been a vegetarian for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So cutting out the dairy wasn't the hardest part.
Yeah.
Well, kind of with pizza, but.
I know, it seemes like we all have that one thing that, like, it takes so long for most pastries. So, like, it's hard to let go of some of that stuff. But now, it seems like now that it's becoming more mainstream and more popular, it's so much easier to find that stuff. So it's like...
Yeah, and mainstream stores.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before you had to go to specialty stores.
Right. Yeah, it's nice to see the growth happening, especially this year and last year even.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool. So did you mostly go into veganism for health reasons or for animal welfare reasons, or I guess what was your motivator behind that?
I felt good. I think being a vegetarian for years, and even when I grew up as a vegetarian and I went off to college, I thought, well, let me just try meat. Like, maybe I was missing something.
Yeah, it's valid.
I think I would get teased because people were looking at me like, well, you eat chicken, right? Like no, I don't eat. Am I missing something?
That's right.
So I tried it. Like when I was in college, I tried it, and it was, when I had gone, you go like 8 years without something, you try to introduce it into your body. Your body doesn't always accept it.
Yeah.
And so I tried it. I didn't like it. I did fish for a while.
Yeah.
And then when I did that Daniel fast that last time, I said, I think this is where I want to go, and I just felt better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and there were so many documentaries that I watched, that supported that. Think About the Health. I think that's one of the
that's a really good one. Yeah.
And Game Changers. So those for me were like, that was a game changer to see those.
Absolutely, I like that. That was a good little time.
It really was.
That's great. Okay, cool. So you were a vegetarian for 20 plus years, and then you transitioned to veganism. And now, as we sit here, you have your own business. So how is that going? And you seem so excited.
So brand new, yeah.
How's it going so far? And then how'd you get on that path? And then where do you see it going in the future?
Yes, well, kind of like how you were saying, like there's that one thing that like we have a hard time like letting go of, that it's like, I really want this, but it's not vegan.
Yeah.
And for me, I really, really like ice cream.
Oh yeah.
So it was, and there are like plant-based ice creams out there, but I also am, as much as I can, I like to avoid sugar, you know, because it's just for the health of myself and my kids.
Absolutely.
And so I would find myself like trying to look for, you know, ice creams that were plant-based and that they didn't have sugar and they tasted good.
Ooh, yeah.
So it was like, I had
tough.
too many criteria.
That's a lot, yeah. It's like, it gets tough sometimes when you're looking for those, you know, because personally I try to avoid sugar, at least refined sugar, as much as I can.
Right.
So yeah, especially when you're talking about ice cream, it's difficult to find that.
Right, and so there, for me, that was like a challenge, and I said, okay, let me try to like just take on this challenge.
Right.
And I literally was having like these dreams of like, oh, I can open up a vegan creamery, and that's when
That's awesome.
what I like kept thinking about was like, okay, well maybe I can do this, maybe I can try it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the little engine that could, like, I think I can.
That's exactly like, I think when it comes, no matter what industry you're in, when it comes to like doing what you want to do and like, you know, providing for yourself in that way, like there's always that like, that's how the momentum starts, right?
It's a
That's
build,
awesome.
and
Absolutely.
I think that I started just kind of playing around in the kitchen. I didn't really have like all the, you know, heavy duty like, you know, ice cream making equipment.
Yeah.
But I started with what I had,
Yeah.
and then I started with a basic plain ice cream.
Right.
I'm actually making like a salted caramel one
Ooh.
tonight, so if that turns out good, there'll be
Man,
samples.
that sounds amazing.
There will be samples.
That's
of it.
amazing. I love it.
But that was really how it started,
Yeah.
and it's been, I think, well, I'll be approaching a year of just since the idea to, you know, being in the kitchen and making the product.
Right.
Everything is still so very new, but I am excited.
Yeah.
Because when I started talking about it and sharing that, you know, that it's nut free, so none of my ice creams will have nut. No gluten, no wheat, it's all naturally sweetened.
Yeah.
There were people like, oh my gosh, I haven't had ice cream in so long because I can't have eggs or I can't have soy. I was like, okay, great, I'm able to help people.
I'm here for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. It's nice to like when you're going through that stuff and like it just reaffirms that what you're doing is going to help a lot of people.
Yes.
You know, when you hear things like that. So that's really cool.
Because that's the goal, I think, ultimately. Like, what you're doing, if it's going to benefit someone else, then go for it. Because then you realize it's not about you.
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely. I think starting your own business in any aspect is more about others than it is about you, right?
Mm-hmm,
So that's really cool. I love that. So going into the future, what do you see for Tastefull Vegan?
Well, right now, I'd like to kind of get a good handle on what the consumers like. So I'm doing a couple of different products. I'm doing popsicles, I'm doing ice cream, I'm doing, you know, freeze pops and even frozen candy bars.
Ooh, nice.
So I want to see what my customers are enjoying and then just really drive in on that and focus on that.
I love that. So kind of like market research almost?
Yeah,
cool.
because I want to make sure that they're happy and that as I continue to grow, I can expand based on what I know they love.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, because if you can narrow it down to just like a few things, right? And then just come out with multiple flavors of all those?
Yes.
That's a great idea.
That's simplicity.
Absolutely.
I'm all about don't reinvent the wheel.
I appreciate that. It's great. It's nice to know that there are, you know, obviously there are original ideas out there, right? But it's nice to kind of just find an idea and get inspired from it and then bounce off of that and create it in your own way. I really love that aspect of it. So it's cool.
And it's funny because you think about certain things that are out there happen by accident because you were just stumbling upon something. It may not have been your original intent, but then it ended up helping people or you know.
I feel like that's where like most connections and like good ideas come from. It's just those, you know, I almost want to say serendipity maybe, you know, like you're not really trying to do anything.
Right.
I don't know, it's really cool.
But you're consistent. You're diligent at what you do. Wow.
I did not know that was going to happen. Now that the fan is off.
Right.
Next question is, if someone were to come up to you and say, hey, I'm transitioning to veganism, where do I start? What kind of advice would you give that person?
Well, first I would tell them to do it like progressively. Like, you know, sometimes people try to do it overnight, like, I'm just gonna stop today. Like, no, you're not.
No, you're not. I feel like there's a very few amount of people that are able to do that, and that's like discipline.
That is extreme discipline.
It's amazing.
But I would say, like, one day at a time, one meal at a time.
Yeah.
You know, start to progressively decrease the amount of meat you are eating, but increase your green leafy vegetables,
Right.
increase your beans, increase some of the things that were once side dishes.
Right.
Because the thing I think that people often miss is that vegan food, because I think at first people used to compare like vegan eating to dieting, like
Right.
I'm going on a diet, so I'm going to be vegan. But that's not necessarily it. Like being and eating vegan means you can still eat as abundantly and you can have flavorful foods.
So beautiful.
And you almost like amplify what used to be a side, a side dish. Like there's a dish that I like and instead of like bacon wrapped asparagus, I take shaved zucchini.
Ooh.
And I wrap it. So like, and I think that's just, I think what it causes you to do is just be a little bit more creative. And so I think what I would say is number one, just kind of do it progressively, like one meal at a time, scale it back. And then as you're doing that, bring in some other dishes until you get comfortable, and don't be afraid to try new things.
Absolutely.
I think that's the other thing. You can't be afraid.
Yes.
Like today I made like a pasta salad for a birthday party, and I didn't tell anybody until they ate it.
That's
there was
awesome.
vegan feta in it. They were like, "We're glad you didn't tell us." I know, right?
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Because they enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So for people to not be intimidated by trying something new,
Right.
trying something different.
Yeah.
I
amazing.
did fried fish using banana.
I think I did see that. Did you post that on social media?
I did.
Yeah, how was that?
It was really good. It was really good. And the flakiness and everything.
What was it that you used for it?
It was banana leaves.
Banana leaves.
It's like banana blossom. That's
There
what
we
it's
go.
called. It's called a banana blossom.
Where do you get those?
I usually go to the Asian food store because you can find a lot of meat substitutes there. People don't often think about that, and you go to like the big name brands and like the health food stores, but you can get like fake fish for $2.
That's amazing. A lot of I'm doing it wrong. I know I can say that much.
There's so much, and I
amazing.
think people think it's expensive, but it's not expensive if you just know kind of where to shop and how to shop.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't have to be expensive.
Personally, I prefer to go to health food stores, but I also get caught up in them and stay there for too long.
No, it's bad when they know your name. Like, hey, Kalene, I'm back.
Thank you for welcoming me home. But yeah, I never would have thought about going to like the Asian markets.
Oh my gosh, yes.
The
your
grocery
tofu
stores.
is cheaper there. If you're into tofu, then you can get tofu there. You can get the banana blossoms fresh, or you can get them canned. But if you're going to do the fish, canned is going to give you that like fishy flavor.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to try that because I have I continue leaning toward like the chickpea tuna recipes that I find.
Oh, it's so good.
And I was looking one day for kelp powder and I couldn't find any of it because like that was supposed to give like the casserole that I was making that fishy flavor.
Yeah.
So it's good to know at least with the banana blossoms I can do that.
Absolutely. Cool. And there's a lot of the kind of like fish substitutes or like different kinds of seaweed that give that fishy flavor.
Yeah.
They have it in abundance.
That's amazing.
So
I'll have to check out the Asian markets around here.
Yes.
I'm doing it wrong.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you for that info. That even helps me out. So.
And that's more money in your pocket.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, because the health food stores can get expensive.
Yes.
So. I appreciate that, and hopefully everyone out there appreciates that as well.
I hope so, yes.
So the last thing that I have on here is just to give me a fun fact about yourself.
Okay, so fun fact about me is I speak Japanese, lived in Japan during 9/11.
Oh.
So I was there.
Wow.
And completely different experience for me living overseas, number one, and then just having that experience of appreciating other cultures. So I started learning it in high school, and then I continued through college, and then just spent about a year there.
Wow.
So.
You were there. Were you married at the time, or you just went out by yourself?
I was like study abroad, like exchange student. So like
cool.
just had nothing but like time and opportunity, and took advantage of it.
That's awesome.
Tokyo, Kyoto, Hiroshima. I got to see the site of just the museums there. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
And I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of things have you taken from that experience that have kind of played in the rest of your life?
Food, actually. You know,
Okay.
I think some of the things that I learned about how to prepare certain dishes and use different ingredients. Like, one of the things is a big, like, I'm a fan, I love sushi.
Okay.
And I just love, like, roasted seaweed. So, like, that's a snack that I feed to my kids. They will eat
That's
just
awesome.
roasted seaweed by itself. And you're like,
Wow.
where does your kids come from?
That's amazing. Hey, seaweed is pretty good. You said roasted seaweed?
Yeah.
Do you make it in the oven or?
No,
how do you do
it's
it?
just when you purchase it,
Yeah.
usually those packs, that's roasted seaweed.
That's it. You just
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I get that.
Yeah.
I've done that, so that's
Yeah,
fair.
and it's
good.
really, it's a great, it's great for, especially being a dark green, it's good for your body. That is one of the things that I gained from being overseas and
Nice.
living in Japan, is different types of food, not being afraid to try something that I did not necessarily, you know,
Right.
never tried before,
Yeah.
but now I end up loving it, and I bring that into my home and share it with my family, and so
That's awesome.
that and the appreciation of other cultures. Like,
Yeah.
I think you don't know what it's like until you go in and experience life, you know, as someone else would.
Right.
And for me, being there during that time.
Yeah,
was
especially
very
that time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thank you so much for sharing all
Absolutely.
that. That's
Thanks for
great.
inviting me.
I had no idea you were in Japan ever, so that's great. What a great fact to talk about, though. That's really cool. Yeah, so thank you again for coming on the show.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And thank you all for tuning in this week to Our Twisted Kitchen, and for Kalene for coming on. And I am going to go enjoy this popsicle that I got. So I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will see you again in the near future.